I'm going to need some assistance, because I don't know if this claim is 100% valid. But we're going to make a video about it anyway, because there's a really great story to follow when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens and the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Right now, at the time of recording this audio, 3 out of the final 4 teams in the conference finals have been confirmed. Colorado will play Vegas, and the undefeated Carolina Hurricanes, who swept both the Senators and the Flyers, will play the winner of Buffalo versus Montreal. A series which currently sees the Canadiens with a 3-2 lead. Now, let's just hypothesize here and give a little bit of a prediction. I said that the Buffalo Sabres would beat Montreal in 7. That was my prediction. Obviously, I'm a Canadiens fan, so I would hope that the Habs end up winning out. But the Montreal Canadiens already defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning in their playoff run, and they currently have a lead on the Buffalo Sabres in the second round. Should they advance, they would be playing off against Carolina in the third round, and should they defeat Carolina in the third round, they would be playing one of Colorado or Vegas. I think most people would probably say Colorado has got this one in the bag. They are unstoppable, no matter how good Carter Hart and John Tortorella have been, and no matter how good Mitch Marner is. I do think Colorado has this Western Conference Finals matchup. With that said, there was a post made on the Habs sub that I wanted to go out there and read to you here with all of this context in mind. Corny Lol said, if the Montreal Canadiens win the Cup, would it be the toughest road there in NHL history? The Montreal Canadiens would have to have beaten the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Buffalo Sabres, the Carolina Hurricanes, and then we assume the Colorado Avalanche. Which means, as the number 6th overall team in the league, the Habs would have had to have beaten 5, 4, 2, and 1. So in the hypothetical reality where that happens, could this be the toughest cup to earn of all time? Obviously not getting ahead of myself, but it's nice to dream. And while it's true, you could very well say that this user is getting ahead of themselves, this is just the reality of what we have to deal with here. The Montreal Canadiens already defeated Tampa Bay. Buffalo, they have a lead. And then if they defeat Buffalo, they'll be playing off against Carolina in the Final Four. This is a very realistic possibility, and even if you head over to moneypuck.com, the Montreal Canadiens have pretty good odds right now towards making the third round. They've got a 74% chance of doing so. They have a 29.3% chance of making the finals, and then they have an 11.8% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. Now, 11.8, that's not a great odd in general, but when you consider the fact that it's 11.8 out of a hypothetical 4 remaining teams, it obviously becomes a little bit easier to stomach. I mean, Final Four, that's already pretty good territory, is it not? And when you take a look at the NHL standings, this point that was made by Corny Lol on the subreddit is very true. Tampa Bay was better than Montreal this season by tiebreaker, but they both had 106 points, so obviously 2 powerhouses squaring off in the first round. Buffalo was also better than Montreal in the regular season. They had 3 more points than the Habs with 109. If Montreal wins against Buffalo, they'll play off against Carolina, who had 113 points this season. And then if the Montreal Canadiens defeat them and projectably play off against Colorado, the Avs were the President's Trophy winning team with 121 points. Meanwhile, you talk about Vegas and Anaheim. Well, Vegas, they had 95 points this season, 13th overall in the league. Of course, we acknowledge, though, that they got a pretty big coaching bump under John Tortorella. Everything started to come together for the Vegas Golden Knights at the end of the season, which is why they finished off the year 7-0-3, despite having a total of 95 points. The Anaheim Ducks, on the other hand, were 18th in the National Hockey League with 92 points. This does volumes to speak about the parity or lack thereof in the NHL, where a team like the Washington Capitals with 95 points, that was 12th overall in the league, did not end up qualifying for the playoffs. They had 5 more points than the LA Kings, who ended up getting into the first round against Colorado, and to be fair, they got absolutely destroyed. But ultimately, this sets the stage for Montreal to potentially play off against teams number 5, 4, 2, and 1 if everything goes according to plan. And I say according to plan because, hey, if Vegas goes out there and legitimately beats Colorado, that would be an upset. Like, that would be crazy. The 13th overall team defeating the first-ranked team, it would be almost as crazy as those 8th seed tales of the LA Kings back in the day. I mean, the Kings were 13th overall. They were the 8th seed in the West. They ended up defeating Vancouver and then making themselves a run all the way to the finals, and then they won the gosh darn thing. It would be the total opposite here with Montreal, because it's like, oh, they're 6th overall in the league. How difficult is their run going to be? Oh, well, they've got 5, 2, 1, and 4. Like, it is such a disparity when you think about how the points and how the wins have been distributed throughout these teams. Let's go out there and read some of the comments on this Reddit post. No, it wouldn't be the most difficult road to win the cup because they didn't have to beat the Montreal Canadiens. Haha, okay. Monster Walrus says, yeah, it'd definitely be up there, but I don't see how any team beats Colorado in a 7-game series without some sort of serious injury. Hey man, if LA won the cup in 2012, there is such thing as just getting hot at the right time. I wouldn't bet on it, but as long as we're in the dance, we're never at 0%. I will say, I don't want to make it seem like the Montreal Canadiens have just been getting hot, quote-unquote, because getting hot would imply momentum, and I don't think the Montreal Canadiens had much momentum in that Tampa Bay series, for example. They lost every game after they won. They were not able to string together 2 wins in a row. It was so back and forth, and I feel the nature of a series like that prohibits you from really saying that they had momentum coming out of that first round series. Now against Buffalo, you're seeing these games where there's so many goals scored in the beginning, and you have high-scoring games in general. Montreal is building momentum here, and if they're able to sustain it on Saturday and win the gosh darn thing, then I'd say that that's probably the biggest momentum surge they've had all playoff series. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo ended up coming out with the victory in game number 6 to force a game 7 and to make things interesting heading into next week. But when you think about momentum, I think the LA Kings, that same example from 2012, they just got super hot at the right time, and it went perfectly, really, for them, winning the Stanley Cup in 2012 and doing all the things that they did. Having the 6th best record in the league and still facing opponents that had better records in every single round of the playoffs is genuinely insane. Meanwhile, Vegas, number 13, just beat Anaheim at number 18. 13th in the league in home ice through 2 rounds. The Canadiens are number 6, and they'll never have home ice in the playoffs until maybe the finals if Vegas makes it there. That's ridiculous, man. The Eastern Conference is just too good this year. And I don't know how I really feel about that. Is there a fix? Is this even an issue? I don't know. But the point is, this Montreal Canadiens run, if it continues and they continue winning, will be one of the craziest runs in NHL history if the Canadiens win out and they find themselves a way to hoist Lord Stanley's Grail. Imagine playing off against the 5th, 4th, 2nd, and 1st place teams as the number 6 overall team. That's crazy. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this breakdown of the Canadiens and their standings, their opponents, how things are shaping up in the playoffs, and what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Thoughts in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.